can see. So this is a quick introduction to business analysis. My name is 𝐂𝐎𝐍𝐍𝐄𝐓. I work as a business analyst, and I'm a member of Blue Sky with icons. Just to give you an overview of some of what we're going to be talking about, I'm just going to explain what business analysis is, all of this. So I know this session is being recorded, and because I'm going to condense a lot of information in a very short time, I'm going to talk really quickly. But again, I know it's recorded, so please bear with me. And then I put a lot of information on the slides. So when you're watching the video again, you can just pause it and read. I won't talk through everything. So I'll go through everything really quickly just so I can go through the information. But I'll simplify it a lot. But a lot of these courses, we're going to be talking in the terms of the role. So for business analysis, a user can be a stakeholder. We'll talk about, you hear a lot of terms. So my pro tip for you is, as you're hearing new terms, create a glossary for yourself. We call it a jargon buster. You're just going to be hearing new words. As you hear a new word, just write it down, write it down, write it down. If you feel comfortable to ask, for additional information, do so. Otherwise, you can do your research after the course to find out, okay, what is a user story? Who is a stakeholder? All these different things. So just, that's just a quick pro tip from me. And it's not just for business analysis, it's for all the core classes you learn, data analysis, everything. You're going to be hearing so many new terms. So just write it down. In business analysis, we call it a glossary. You're going to use it a lot. So start your own first glossary now, okay? All right, so a business analyst is someone who elicits, interprets, documents business processes, products, services, and software through the analysis of data. See, again, the words we use are just terms of the role. For example, elicit is just to gather information. So you're just going to go to people and you're gathering information from them. Then when they give you the information based on the project you're working on, you interpret it, you document it, you document business processes, services, all of that. And then you use it for the project, for all those involved in the project. So there are two main bodies that govern business analysis. In the UK and around Europe is the British Computer Society. In America, Canada, and in North America, that area, it's called the 𝐖𝐈𝐓𝐇, the International Institute of Business Analysis. So I just put their own definitions here. But a business analyst is a change manager. I know you're going to be thinking about all the different roles you want to be interested in, or you're interested in and want to get into, but business analysis is one of the most interesting, captivating ones, and anyone can do it, okay? So we normally say, like I said, a business analyst is a change manager. Life is about change. So a business analyst is so important. We're involved in the change process, and we are called the bridge. There's usually a gap between, again, remember I told you about stakeholders. They're just business users, your executives, your all the employees, users, and then the development team, the project team, the people working on a particular project, they're called the development team. So your business analyst is the one who takes the needs of the business to say, we want to create a website, we want to grow our user base, we want to change our business process. The way we're doing it is not very effective. We want to make it better. So all those needs that the business has, the business analyst is the one who takes those needs and takes it to the development team to say, this is what we need to produce. In order to give, for example, let me give you a real world example. We all use banks. Maybe your bank wants to create an app so that the customers will not have to come into the branch. They can basically access their accounts from an app. So they want to do that to give their users access, to their accounts and make things easier. So a business, and obviously their reasons are, we want to make things easier for the user. We want, our market share to grow. So if things are easier for users, more people will come to more customers will join the bank, and they'll find it easier to use our products, and so on and so forth. So the business analyst is the one who takes that business need and goes to the development team and says, guys, we need to build an app. The development team are like, okay, so what will the app entail? Then the business analyst is the one to list out all the uses, all the functions, all the processes that app will solve. So they're the ones between the business and the development team. Based on what the business needs, the development team will create that particular product to solve that business need. So you can imagine how important a business analyst is. And like I say, if there's a business, then there's a need for an analyst. So they're so vital to every business. So a business analyst needs to understand what the business process is. What is your current process and how can we make it better? Or maybe there isn't a process at all. So what should the process be? A business analyst understands that. They understand the need for improvement. So maybe you're a business and you don't have a website. It's a business analyst that will say, if you want to make your product more accessible to people, you need to have a website. So people that cannot come into your shop can go on the website and shop, and all those sorts of things. So they look at the business and they can identify opportunities for growth and development. Yeah. So again, I talked about bridging the gap, very important. And I talked about them being a change manager. Life is change, business is change. So a business analyst is so crucial in all organizational changes, transitions, and all of that. So who can be a business analyst? Anybody can train to be a business analyst. If there is a technique or a competency for business analysis, and there's a way you can learn them very easily, and you can go from a zero, someone that doesn't have any technical knowledge at all, like me, and then you can become a business analyst. So I'm going to just talk through some of those processes. Now, a business analyst needs to think logically, analytically, and someone gives you a process, you should be able to break it down into the simplest forms. Don't worry, you're not going to do this alone. Anything that anyone is asking you to do as a business analyst, there is a process for you to follow. There is a tool for you to use. There's a technique for you to use. So that's why you can come in from absolutely knowing nothing to being like the best senior business analyst. You can grow. So some of the keys for success is it's good to enjoy writing, because we document processes a lot. We document, we write user stories, artifacts. Artifacts are just different kinds of documentation. They're called artifacts. So they're called project artifacts. So each project has its own. Problem solving. Someone comes and gives you a problem, or you go into a meeting and they tell you what the business need is, what the problem the business is experiencing. A business analyst is the one to look for solutions to that problem. Communication is so important. Remember, we are the bridge. So we need to be able to communicate to the business, communicate to the developers, communicate to the users. We kind of sit in the middle, just like this, this diagram. We sit in the middle, and then we deal with so many different business functions, business units, people, all stakeholders. We deal with all of them. Negotiation, you should be able to negotiate. Again, all these skills are taught. Love processes and processing things. So you see something, you should be able to, create a process or identify the process from taking that thing from point A to point B. Processes are so easy. Like I said, all these things will teach you a lot more if you would love to, come onto the project, but I'm just giving you a quick overview. A business analyst, sorry about that. Let me go back real quick. Okay, so a business analyst is usually creative because sometimes it takes creativity and innovation to solve problems. Research, you don't be afraid to research. There's so many things we don't know. So don't be afraid to research. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Investigate into the root of the problem. Someone gives you a problem. A business analyst is able to drill down to what the root cause of that problem is. Again, there are techniques and tools to be able to do all of these things. You can't be afraid of change. You are the change manager. So if other people are afraid of change, you need to be able to show them how beneficial the change will be, and so much more. So these are just some skills a business analyst has. Now, again, I mentioned as long as there's a business, then there's a need for a business analyst. So for as many types of businesses as there are business analysts. So there's always need for business analysts in the market, always. Whether it's a financial business analyst, IT business analyst, there are so many different names for an analyst, but basically you are the one to do this particular thing in that business, in that industry, in that domain. We call industries domain. So sometimes you're like, okay, but I've never worked in a financial industry before. Can I be a business analyst there? 100%. I've never worked in the healthcare sector before. Can I be a business analyst there? 100%. So these are just the different types of business analysts available. So there's a need for you. It's not saturated at all. So definitely, again, I just talked about the different industries. If it's a business, if it's an industry, then you can work there. So whatever your personal preference is, some people love telecom, some people love retail and IT, some people love consulting, education. That's why you can take your existing skills and transition them, because you can use your knowledge of the industry and, get into the industry you prefer, or even if you haven't started working before, you can get in as well. So the market needs you. If you're a business analyst, there's room for you to grow and all of that. Now, these are some of the tools you'll be exposed to as a business analyst. You should be exposed to as a business analyst, and you will be exposed to within the internship program. We're used to a lot of them: PowerPoint, Excel. There are some that we may not be so confident with, or maybe Teams. These are SharePoint. These are collaboration tools. But then there are some tools that are specific to business analysis, and some of them include Balsamiq for prototyping and wireframing. We'll tell you what that is. Visio for process mapping. We'll tell you what that is. Figma, Lucidchart, all of that. Miro, mind mapping, Miro. You've already seen Azure DevOps. That's another thing you'll be exposed to as well. And let me tell you, Azure DevOps is the top in the market of process management. So people use Jira, people use Asana, people use Trello. But if you know Azure DevOps, you are actually ahead of the market, and then you can learn all these other ones very easily. And that's what we use in BlueSky. So once I learned Azure DevOps, I was able to learn all the other tools in that category very easily. And then I'm even telling people at work about Azure DevOps as well, and then there are other collaborative tools. Now at the internship, I'm only able to tell you, we're only going to talk about requirement elicitation briefly in this class. But as part of the internship, there are so many different technicalities, competencies within the business analysis schools and skill set you will learn. These are just some of them. I want to highlight the ones on your right, which is working within the Agile framework. Very important. All the projects we have here are within the Agile framework. You've heard some of it already, from the Scrum Masters, where they talked about Agile. So that's what we're going to learn. You're going to learn communication skills, collaboration skills. Some of the tools I highlighted, we're going to learn how to use them. Full-on courses on how to use them. By the time you're done, you will know how to use them very well. Research skills, very important for a BA. Remember, I told you can go into any organization, any domain, and work as a BA. But your research skills have to be up to par. because you're going to need to research. When you get into that domain to find out how it works, there are two things you're going to need: research and elicitation. And that basically is going to find out from people. People expect BAs to ask them questions. They have meetings with BAs, and BAs just ask questions. So what do you do? How do you do it? And there are different ways to get this information. So as long as you can follow some of these laid down processes, you'll be fine. Professionalism, how do you act in the workplace? There's some of us that act in a particular way, but in there's a professional way to act, even if it's not comfortable for some of us. Some of us always want to say Mr. or Madam or all these things, especially here in the UK. In some places it's fine, but here in the UK, you just call people by their first name, regardless of how old or how young they are. So some of these things are things we take for granted, but working in a proper project skill set and proper project team, you'll be able to get all these things. And like I said, on the left, there are loads and loads. This is just a snapshot. There's so much more you will be able to learn as well. The salary range it cuts across, again, from the low side, about 36,500, to the mid for intermediate level BAs to the high side. And it depends on things like experience, the industry you work on, your location. Like London is in the UK, London is usually, the salaries are a lot higher. And then sometimes you may have additional specializations. So you can be a general BA, but then if you're a BA with data analysis skills, you're going in with two major roles that people need. They don't have to hire two people. They just have you as a BA who's able to, who has data analysis skills. Your salary will be on the high side, So again, like I said, this is an average. It goes from this range. So anything from this range, and as you can see, it's good. It's a really good salary. It's a really good living. So that's a very quick synopsis of of business analysis. I just want to stop really quickly to ask if you have any questions. You're going to get this video anyway, but do you have any questions regarding the intro? No? Okay. So I've been alluding to my own experience. So I'm so grateful to the BlueSky admin team that they've given me the opportunity to tell my story. Just spend the next, very quickly, I'll condense it for you, like 5 minutes. So my background is in law. I trained as a lawyer in Nigeria, but in 2021, yes, I left to do a higher degree, a master's here in the UK for just 1 year. I had 1 year, but I wanted to stay in the UK. So while I was here, I knew that I needed UK experience. I knew that my course, I was doing an MBA, but I knew my course won't automatically guarantee me a good job or a job even in tech or IT. So I was actively looking for a place to learn. I have some BAs around me and I loved what I knew about it. I tried to learn on my own, but I couldn't. YouTube, a lot of that, it wasn't just making sense to me. I tried to, but it didn't make any sense to me. So I looked around, I kept searching. I wanted something specific. I didn't just want training. I also wanted to learn hands-on. I learned better that way, practical, so I wanted that. And I wanted UK experience as well, because I knew that would help me. The only place I found was BlueSky. I found their YouTube page. I watched a lot of their videos. I reached out to the admin. I found out, unfortunately, I had just missed the last batch. So I had to wait for 3 months. And then I joined the class as well. It was intensive. I'm telling you the truth, but I knew what I wanted. I knew that, okay, after my 1 year, I had 2 years postgraduate. I had the opportunity to get a 2-year postgraduate visa. So I was like, okay, let me just, get myself ready for work. I wasn't really feeling any pressure, but I just had to get myself ready. came in. The community is so supportive. It was intensive, but everything I needed. I had mentors. They gave us the tools we needed. There were trainings and there was practical application of what we were learning. We had people that, it was awesome, basically. So I learned. And then while I was there, I already started working on my CV, because they also did CV review and interview prep. So I also worked on my CV and I started applying, So I applied to a few places and I got an interview. And while I was there, they kept saying, as a student, they won't give you a job, because as a student, I'm only allowed to work 20 hours a week. And an IT role is a full-time role. By the time I got the interview, I did so well in the interview. I interviewed so well that when they asked me, I told them I have a few months at the end of my student visa, then I'll transition to my postgraduate and I can work full time, but I want to start working immediately. Do you know, these guys gave me a job as a BA as a part-time BA. So I was only working 20 hours a week for an international organization. It was my first job as a BA. By the time January came by, there was an issue with my school and they told me I couldn't graduate with my mates. I had to graduate in September, finish in July, graduate in September, but that they could not extend my student visa. So that means in January, I'd have to go back to Nigeria. And I didn't want to. I had a job. I didn't want to. There was no need for it, So I went to them and I explained to them that this was the issue I was having. And I asked them to sponsor me. And they did. They gave me a 3-year sponsorship. I've been working for the organization now for a while, for about a year. I got the job in December 2022. But after a year, I realized that I knew a lot. I continued with BlueSky. I kept working on different projects and I kept expanding my knowledge. And I was like, this organization, they have they are the ones sponsoring me. If I want to leave, I have to get another organization to sponsor me. But I love them. They're international, they're really big, and they're awesome. So I was like, I can apply for a senior role with the help and support, interview prep of BlueSky as well. I was able to successfully apply for a senior BA role. I'm now a senior BA. I started in December. That's 2 years as a BA. I'm working as a senior BA and I know what I'm doing. And the only reason is because of BlueSky, the support I got. Remember, no technical knowledge, all these things. The first time I'm hearing all these things, the first time I'm working on these projects, I was able to do that with the help of BlueSky. So regardless of where you are, just know that there is a setup, the structure is in place to support you as you learn at your own pace. It's going to be hard, trust me, because you're learning a lot. But if you're willing to put in the work, there's nothing stopping you from getting to where you are now, to getting the job you want to get. So many people have gotten senior roles from BlueSky, and I'm a testimony, so that's just a really, I even forgot to mention, while I was applying, they asked me, you have a 3-year work visa with us. What happens when your visa ends? I said, okay, I can get a 5-year one if you people want. I don't mind. So they gave me, I've been working there for a year. They gave me 4 more years. So at the end of 5 years, I can apply for my indefinite leave to remain. They've seen the value in the work I do, and they were able to sponsor me and all of that. So, and I'm not even afraid, because I know if I have to leave, I can get another job and another job. But it's a really good opportunity and I'm happy there. So that's just a very quick testimonial of, my own experience. And I just want to encourage you, whatever it is you're looking for, put in the work and you'll get it. Thank you. I just want to pause and take a breath before we go to part 2, because I know you guys have been hearing my voice for a while. Any questions?
Thank you very, very much.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Hold on. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, hold on. Thank you so much, Uzo. Thank you. I know I've heard your story over and over, and I can't help but always smile when I hear it. She cut off a lot of things, so that we can just speed up. But at the same time, like I said, Uzo was part of the very shy ones that felt, this thing is almost impossible, but she's a hard worker and she pulled through and was flying so high almost immediately. And she wowed everybody from beginning to the end, So it's always good. Some people would think that Uzo has been here since 1920. She has told you herself, when she joined and everything. So you need to just put your mind to it. When you hear everything at the start, it's always like Greek. So it's always good that we do these testimonials just to remind you. We're not doing the testimonials for anything. The testimonial is just basically to encourage you. And I hope one person at least has been encouraged with what Uzo has spoken about. So thank you very much, Uzo. Now, just a general reminder: the attendance is closing in about 8 minutes. If you have not done it, please go right there to do it once and for all. Please, it won't take you more than a minute to sort that. Please sort your attendance so that we'll not have attendance issues. Remember that we spoke about this, and we are saying we want to try and avoid any body saying they were not able to meet up with the attendance. So please do so immediately. Juliet, please, it will be kind of you to repost. Thank you. All right. So we'll take one or two questions before we go to the part two of today's session. Um, Damsola, please let's have it as a goal so that everybody can we can just share one video for it, please. Thank you. Um, Somebody wanted to ask a question before I told you to hold your thoughts, please.
I have a question.
Please go ahead. Damsola, this is back to you now. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. You talked about internship.
Yes.
Okay, please, I want to know, how is the internship being run? Is it after the 4 weeks?
All right. I think that question is for me, not for
Yes,
us.
it is.
So, guys, yesterday when I showed you the website, I showed you two sets of internship, one for 3 months, one for 12 months. The one for 3 months is the regular one we do prior now, and we will run a full course internship, sprint on sprint, take you through a full project that you start and finish on your own. That's within your team. Anyways, we'll put you into teams and all that. So after that, the second part is the one of the 12 months, where after the 3 months, you'll be with the set of the 3 months. But whilst the 3 months guys graduate, except those that want to stay back,
What
and do it
network the
as
fuck,
practice.
man?
Please, can you mute yourselves? Thank you. Aside those that want to stay back and join, transition into advanced, for the 12-month course duration, immediately afterwards, we just transition you into advanced. Most of the tutors, not most of the tutors, all the tutors you have on the call, all the mentors you have on the call, we've been through what you've gone through and we're currently now in advance. The reason is just, aside all of us learning and growing together, it also still puts you remain in the community where you're working. So it keeps you abreast of what is going on within um, um, other sectors. So, for example, somebody in health sector is coming to share what they do as a scrum master with somebody in engineering and in somebody with, so we just learn from each other and grow, because what is obtainable in one organization sometimes might not be obtainable in the other one. So even if we've all learned the basics of how to apply our roles to the job, when it comes to experience, you can't beat experience anywhere. So that's when we transition into advanced. So you can just go to that same website I shared yesterday. The first set that you're seeing that tells you 3 months training, diploma, and like that, just click on your choice of the role or whichever one you want, and then you can transition. Now, just so you know, we're starting the internship upper Monday, precisely 24th. Spring Zero is starting then. We are not stopping the 4 weeks free training, because the 4 weeks free training is completely different from the internship. It's a free training and we want to uphold to that free training. Please do not get me wrong so that people don't quote us wrong or anything. It's not compulsory you do the internship. But between me and you, the internship is good for you. It's good for your growth and it's good for you to learn properly. Because no matter how we want to do the free training, 1 month sometimes is too short for you to grasp all this. Because in that 1 month, the film trick will just be appearing to you. It's just okay, because then you start even digesting what you've heard over and over again. You heard Uzo telling you about opening a sheet for yourself where you can put all these jargons you hear every time. It's very important. Guys, please, I know that when you see why I'm not usually faced when people have questions. I still try to make a joke out of it to make everyone relax. It's because I've done this over and over again. I've gotten to understand that there's no how. Even think about it. If you start something for the first time, You will feel overwhelmed. You will feel underwhelmed. You will feel a lot of feelings will just be jumping. You will not even know where you are. Sometimes you'll be like, okay, I've caught up, I understand. Later you'll be like, what are they even saying? It is normal. Sometimes you'll be like, okay, where do I do this? Where do I think of it when you resume at work? Is it the same first day you resume at work that all your applications will be set up, all your collaborations will be set up? You know all your stakeholders same day. You know it's not possible. Everything is big. Even if I give you an actual role now, you still go through this rigmarole. So please, everybody, calm down. Take 10 steps backward. Calm down. Yours is to make sure that you are present. And when I mean you are present, put your mind to it. Put all you've got into it. This weekend, I know it's Valentine. You can play a bit of your Valentine. And then afterwards, apply a couple of hours. Listen to all those videos we've done for the week. It will be 4 by the end of today. Watch through them, do your tasks, and get ready for a new week. You might not understand it as much as you can, but not attempting it is worse. So I don't want to digress too much because of time. I'm just letting Uzo go take a cup of coffee because she's coming for the part 2, which is the practical part. And also she's going to do a show and tell with you, with another senior colleague, right? So please, guys, put your mind to it. Don't feel the little that Uzo has said today. Uzo is very clear sometimes when she's talking, but still, you might not be able to pick some things. When you rewatch the video, you will understand. Same as all the other tutors. Sometimes it's difficult to teach some particular courses because there's so much. But there are some that we talk, like Scrum Mastery, we talk. You understand the talk. Business analysis, we talk. But it can be a bit harder when you need to click here, like data analysis or the testing. So for all of you that are feeling very confused, if you are not feeling confused, then I don't think you should be on this platform. That means you're an expert. We don't need an expert on the platform. We need confused people like you now. Digest the whole process. You have to be confused. That's when I know you're trying to do something. But if you're checking out, that's on you. So please calm down. The 4 weeks training is going to hold. We will keep going, on the training. But as we are getting to on the 3rd week, we'll start our internship fully, but we'll still be taking your courses and take you through the things you need to know. So at least at the end of these 4 weeks, you can have a simple, healthy conversation on an IT role of your choice that you have picked. So please, let's sit back and relax and grasp what we can grasp. And even if I failed on any promise for you guys today, I promise to resend all the videos. I will still speak to Deji as per those that are not able to click. So we will let we'll let that go for this week. But from next week, we'll ensure you are able to go through the website to click and do all the needful. However, if you know you want to request to join the internship now, you can use the website. The website is working. The first set of things you see is for the internship. You see the 3 months, you see 12 months, you know that you're in the right place. So I will share the link for that. You can apply and choose, but calm down and decide on the role you want to pick so that you're not changing roles too much. But what's this scenario can still help you change roles at the start. But when we commence fully, we'll rather tell you to stick to what we have. I hope that has covered for everyone that are a bit weary and all that. So I just use this opportunity to take the 5 minutes breather for Uzo. Uzo, I don't know if you are ready for us
I
again.
am.
All right, back to
Thank
you,
you.
back to you. And I hope I answered your question. Sorry, I didn't look at the name of the person. That's unlike me. Apologies. So I hope I answered your question. All right, thank you. All right, Uzo.
Thank you so much. Allow me. So this is part 2. It's a practical side. Know that I'm going to touch on 3 different techniques for BA, and each of these techniques is its own class. So this is just an intro. We're just going to give you a snapshot, and for me, it's just to help with your task, because that's the task you're going to work on. So listen. There's going to be a bit where you can contribute as well. So if you want to unmute and give answers, please go ahead and all of that. So yeah, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do, remember your jargon buster. You're going to need it here because now we're going to talk about a bit, of the technicality of being a business analyst. Now, as a business analyst, the one thing you're going to hear a lot is requirements. Very, very important. Requirements. And if you look at this, the image here, you will see why requirements are very important. Now, this is the reason why most projects fail. Lack of communication, risk management, poor scope definition, lack of resources, and some other things, 1%. Poor requirements definition is half 50% of why most projects fail. That's just to tell you how important requirements are. And as BAs, it is our bread and butter. That's the ground floor. Any project you're going into, it's just the air we breathe. It's just a requirement. So a requirement is basically, remember I kept talking about business needs. So a requirement is the clear statement of that business need or that condition that the product or the service must deliver to its stakeholders. I'll define what stakeholders are, but just a one statement definition of what a requirement is. So as a BA, we need to describe and document the business need through requirements for each project we go on to. Use requirements to create a roadmap so that the designers know what to design, the developers know what to develop. You can go and validate it with the people who, the business owners, because they're the ones who have the requirements. And you have because you have requirements, you can ensure that the solution you deliver at the end of the day meets the requirement need. Otherwise, people are just going to go and develop solutions that they think are, this would be a nice to have, this would be a nice thing, but does it really meet the objective of the business? And then having clear requirements will guarantee that your stakeholders have value. What they expect is what they get. So it's so important. Requirements are so important. I love this image. I got it from my Oga, and I always use it for all my presentations. So this is basically a project for you. A customer says, this is what I want. The project leader says, this is what I understood. This is what the engineer designed. This is what the programmer wrote. This is how the sales team described it. This is how the project was documented. This bit is very important. Nothing. Sometimes you come to a project and there's no documentation. And as BAs, documentation is another thing we do. We have to do. So this is another one of our tasks. The operations install this one. The customer is billed for that. The help desk supports it. And this is actually what the customer needed. So it's so important to get required. If the BA got the customer requirements correctly, then we would have ensured that the customer got what it is they want. But if you don't get requirements correctly, then this would just be the fiasco, which is a lot which is what happens for most projects. We don't want that. So now there are different kinds of requirements. Yeah, general requirements that are grouped into 4 major classes. Yeah, so you have general requirements, technical requirements, functional requirements, and non-functional requirements. So I don't have too much time. I won't go into all these details, but remember, requirements itself is a class on its own, full days class. So I'm just condensing everything as much as I can, but these are your broad strokes. You have inside general requirements, you have stakeholder requirements, business requirements, you have so many of them, it's all there. Yeah, so when you're watching the video, you can look through. Now, remember I told you that as a BA, you can work in any business, in any industry, in any domain. It's because of this particular technique. Yeah, they can put a BA in an industry they have never worked in before. Once they understand how to elicit requirements, they'll be fine. Elicitation is just gathering requirements. It used to be requirements gathering. If you do research, you will see requirements gathering. It means the same as requirements elicitation. They just change the terms because gathering just makes it seem like you're just going to, people are just giving it to you freely. But elicitation implies that you have to draw it out. There's a process of actually going to go to the people, find the people first. Who are the main people whose requirements are integral to your project? It's not everybody. There are certain people. They're called stakeholders. I'll talk about them later. These guys their requirements are what you need. So they could be the users. They could be the project team. They could be the business owners. But their requirements are essential to the success of that project. You need to identify who they are and then go to them and elicit, draw out, gather the requirements from them, document it, go back to them again to say, when you told me your requirements, is this what you meant? They will say, yes, approve it. And then you can go to the project team and they will start working on it. And based on those requirements, the testers, remember you talked about software testers, that's what they use. Developers, that's what they use. Everybody uses these requirements. They're so important. That's why as a BA, you sit in the middle, you're the bridge between the business and the project team, because everybody needs your requirements. You get requirements from the business and you share it with the project team, and then they develop it and you go back to the business to say, is this what you wanted? So you're so integral as a BA. So I talked up again, these are things you can read when you're watching the video. I'm just going to talk through them because of time. There are so many different elicitation techniques. You have document analysis. You come to a project and they give you documents and you have to get the requirements from the documents they give you. It could be like a project initiation document. It could be a business case. So based on the documents that have already been produced, you can draw out the requirements from there. It could be observation. They'll tell you, okay, we want to change this process. In order to change the process, you need to understand the current process. So you need to go and watch the people that are doing it. Maybe they're construction workers. How do the construction workers work? How do the cashiers at a bank work? You may need to observe them to see what their process is, to say, oh, what they do now is good, we can keep it. Or what they do now isn't good, we can improve on it. Then interviews. You can interview people, set up meetings with them and interview them. You can have workshops. Maybe you have so many different stakeholders. You have people from finance, HR, governance, privacy, so many different groups, and they all have a stake. They all have an interest in the success of that project. Maybe there are regulatory requirements, so many different things. And to meet all of them one by one, everybody's talking their own. Do you know what? Yeah, all of you come to a particular room. Let's have a workshop so we can all talk together and agree on what the requirements are. Then there's prototyping. Someone tells you what they want. Oh, I want it like this, draw it like this. They're like, okay, hold on a minute. Let me create a quick wireframe just to confirm that what you're telling me is what I've actually received. So you create a prototype, like a type of what the product they want, and show it to them. It's like, is this what you want? They'll be like, okay, change this thing here, change this one there. Oh, this is great. Go ahead and develop it. I like the prototype. Go now and develop it, because I've seen that you understand what the requirements are and have created a prototype. Then there's brainstorming. Maybe people want to have a business need, but they don't know how. They've never done that thing before. So everyone wants to come together to come up with ideas. Let's do it this other way. No, let's do it this way. And then, everyone's brainstorming, throwing out ideas. When they're done with that, you can now decide on what to do. So these are just some techniques. They're not all of them. They're just a few. There are loads of others as well, but these are just ways that you can get into any industry and elicit the requirements you need. Okay. Again, we talked about stakeholders. A stakeholder is anybody who has a vested interest in the project outcome. They have an interest. So it could be anybody, it could be the user, it could be the customer, it could be the client, it could be the business itself. Maybe within the business, you have the finance people. They have to create a budget. It could be privacy. They're like, oh, there are data laws we have to comply with, or it could be anybody. So, and then as well as the project team. So that's stakeholders on the business side, but you now have the development team, all the QAs and the dev guys and the DAs and the scrum masters and everybody, all those are stakeholders. As a BA, you have to know who your stakeholders are. Then you now have to categorize them. Who is the sponsor? Who is the person who is sponsoring this project? Who has the money? Who is the person that is developing this project? Who is the person that I need to get approval for? As a BA, you have to know all these things. Again, there are many different ways to get it. No, as a BA, that's one thing I love. Whatever it is they want from you, there is a skill, there's a technique, there is something to get it out. As long as you learn it, you're going to be fine. So As BAs, we rely on stakeholders. They're the ones that give us the accurate requirements. We can go back to them to clarify. Maybe two people are saying different things. We'll just go like, okay, can I confirm what the overall consensus is before we move forward? Any question, any confusion, you can go back to the stakeholder and say, I got this requirement from you. There's a question regarding it. Can you clarify? Can you validate? Can you confirm? Then once they're done with it, you go back to them again and say, can you approve that we have gotten this requirement correctly? So as a BA, you're never on your own. You don't have to worry. There's always someone you talk to get clarity from, to get approval from. And it's so easy, so well, it's easy. So then the third concept I want to share with you is how to create user stories. Now, user stories are once you get the requirements, you need to convert them to user stories. And that basically means that you're converting those requirements into features, tangible features. Someone says, okay, I want an app that's people can download from the iPhone store or Google store or whatever. What does that mean? What process does the app need to go through so that it's available for users to be able to download on the iPhone? It's not just magic. There are things that people have to do. As a BA, all the customers said to you is, I just want the app to be available on the App Store and from Google Play Store so that it's downloadable. That's all they told you. That was a requirement. You need to turn that requirement into a user story so the developers will know what to do in order to make that app available in those stores. You don't have to know what the process is. No one's telling you that you have to understand the process behind. No. All you need to do is say, this is, as a user, I want to be able to go to the iPhone store so that I can download this particular app. That's your own. Whatever the dev team needs to do to make that possible, they know that that's what they need to do. At the end of the day, the tester will test that, can the user get this app from the iPhone store or from Google Play Store? Yes, that requirement and that user story is done. So you didn't have to know all the technical in and outs. You don't have to code. You don't have to know how does it work, all those techniques. No, they told you what was needed. And you already knew that in order for the app to be available to the customers, it has to be through the iPhone store or App Store or Google Play Store. And you wrote the requirement that way. So your user story is who is the user? You have to identify who the stakeholder is, who the user is of that particular feature. What do you want them to do? So let's say you're shopping on Amazon. We all know how to buy things online. As a user of Amazon, I want to be able to click on a product. And once I click on it, it will appear in my basket so that I can pay for it. That's all you need to do. So you take that requirement and turn it to a user story written from the user's perspective. You have to put yourself in the place of the user. Yes, you're a BA, but when you're writing the story, you're not the BA, you're the user. So whoever the user is, you need to put yourself in their shoes and write from their perspective and say, as a user, this is what I want to do so that I can get this particular outcome or this particular benefit or this particular thing will happen. What's the outcome? So those are your user stories. It's usually for the agile projects, because this is what you take and you put it as your DevOps. Yeah. And then your dev team, your development team can take it and work on it. And then your testers can test it. Again, these are condensed descriptions of this process. User stories is a class on its own. Stakeholder management is a class on its own. Requirements, all these things are full courses on their own. But we just want to give you a snippet to tell you that these things are doable. Very, very doable. Okay? So now let's go quickly to the example. Yeah, so this is where participation would be good if you guys want to participate. This is just a very quick example of an everyday scenario. So a family of 6, Father, mother, 4 children. There are different children, 16-year-old son, 13-year-old daughter, 2-year-old twins. They want to purchase a car. They want to take advantage of the government's electric car scheme. And they've also promised their 16-year-old child that after a year, he can use that car. They will get another car. Now, can you tell me who the stakeholders are in this quick scenario? You can unmute and just yell out the names based on what I've just told you. Can you identify who the stakeholders are? Anyone?
I think the whole family.
The family?
The child that wants to get the car.
Yeah, so the 16-year-old son is a stakeholder. Awesome. Who else is a stakeholder?
Okay, I think the father, mother, and 4 children are the stakeholders.
Okay, so you've identified 6 of them, a family of 6. You're telling me that all 6 of them are stakeholders on their own, right?
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that means you have to look at things from the father's perspective, from the mother's perspective, from the 6-year-old son's perspective, from the daughter, from the 2-year-old twin sons. Like, they can't talk, but they're stakeholders. You have to look at things from their requirements, from their perspective. So we've identified 6 stakeholders. Who else is a stakeholder in this scenario?
The car dealership.
Brilliant. I don't know who said that, but you're awesome. Thank you. They're going to get a car from somewhere.
Sorry, so, I wanted to ask, how come the family is the stakeholder? I thought they promised the 16-year-old boy a car. Like, I don't know.
Yes, but all of them are going to interact with that car. They all have an interest. The father is going to drive the car. The mother is going to drive the car. The children are going to be passengers in the car. So they have an interest. Even the twins that haven't said anything, they're not talking, they don't know that car is being born. They're also stakeholders. You have to look at things from their perspective as well. So everybody who has an interest, the passerby on the road doesn't have an interest. It's just a passerby on the road. But this family, each person, as a BA, you can look at things from each person's perspective and write a requirement to say this and this and this is what should happen for this particular person's requirements. If you guys are interested, we can delve a bit more into it, but just very quickly, can someone else tell me one other stakeholder? Just one more.
The government.
Yeah, someone should just send pepper soup to this, my wonderful brother. Thank you. They have there's a scheme they want to use. So the government is also a stakeholder. You have to look at things from the government's perspective. What is that scheme? What is that scheme? Okay, so let's delve a little bit deeper. I don't know how much time we have. We may not have time to go into the actual user stories themselves because we still have a demo. But can someone just tell me 1 or 2 requirements? You've identified who the stakeholders are. Awesome. There are more if you want to go delve deeper, but this one is fine. Now, can you tell me 1 or 2 requirements, just, off the top of your head? What do you think as a user their requirements will be?
Electric car.
What said electric car? How is electric car?
Size of the car, yeah.
Say again?
The size of the car, the size.
Oh.
Yeah, probably 7-seaters.
Say again?
Probably 7-seaters car.
Because it has to. Why? You tell me. Let me not.
Obviously, we have a family of 6, yes. And they've got twins. So yes. 2 years old, they're gonna need car seats. Awesome. And so
it's a requirement that the car has to be able to fit all 6 members of the car, right? Of the family, right? Brilliant.
Hello.
Yes.
Money. They want money.
Said budget. You are. See now, you got a business analyst already. She already went to money. Money is a factor. Your budget is a factor. Okay, is a requirement. Let me not say factor. Let me use the actual.
Sorry,
the requirement.
I have a question as well. Okay. Would eligibility be a requirement? Would it be a factor in this case?
100%. Because there is a government scheme, Obviously, there are regulations they have to follow. If you don't meet all the requirements, what are the requirements of the government for people? It's not for everybody. There are certain people that meet the requirements of the electric car scheme. So they have to be eligible. So for them to be, you have to understand what the government's requirements are first.
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's another thing you have to do. So that's brilliant. Any more?
Age.
What does age? What's the age thing? Where are you coming from? Give me.
He's 16 years. Can he be allowed to drive a car at 16? But if the family is going to give the car to him by another year, then he'll be 17. Will he be allowed to drive a car by 17 years?
What is the requirement in the UK for someone who is 17 to be able to drive a car?
Sorry, Uzo. 1 minute.
Yeah.
This is Deji.
Hi, Deji.
I like how you are actually going through that anyway. And the last person that spoke, initially before she spoke, I wanted to make a comment about it. This is when requirement is not really clear and someone misread the requirements, right? Uzo, I think what you are saying is like, they promised this thing here that the family is going to get a car.
Yes.
But the lady is actually interpreting that the car is for the 16-year-old.
Yeah. So
do you get it now?
Yes,
so
I do. I do.
So that's what
I do. Thank
but
you.
But he didn't say immediately.
Yeah. So he won't be 16 by the time a year is over.
He'll be
17. So what's the requirement for a 17-year-old in the UK to be able to drive a car?
Pass your driving test.
Pass the theory and the practical.
So obtain a driving license.
So do you see how
provisional driving license and someone that's got the driving license for over some time can sit just beside him to drive the car.
Brilliant. That's absolutely awesome. Now, what you just did.
Hello. Sorry.
Yes.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah. The story is in two parts. The first part is that a family of 6 is looking to purchase a family car. That is one. So the other aspect is that additionally, they have what do I have here?
Promised.
Yeah, they are promised.
Yes.
Their 16-year-old son. So it's like the family is looking to purchase 2 electric cars, one for the family and the second for the 16-year-old son.
I think you got that wrong. No, this is additionally, I think you were talking about after.
Hold on, guys.
What they intend to do by the next year. That's additionally, which means what they intend to do after 1 year. They'll give the car to him. They are promised to give him the car after 1 year.
That's not a requirement.
But as a BA, now let me go a bit deeper. Yeah, as a BA, it might be beneficial to look at future plans. To say this is where we are now, but in future, this is where we would want to go. We're not saying now.
Uzo. Stated that he will inherit the car. It is stated here it's going to inherit.
Yes. Sorry, Uzo, I just have a question.
Okay, so I think I get it as my side.
Concerning the electric car.
Yes.
Can a question of what type of electric car in terms of we have plugged-in hybrid,
100%,
fully electric car,
100%.
You understand? It will definitely come in, right?
100%. So do you know one thing I love about this? As a BA, remember I said you have to be able to drill down. This is just a sentence or 2 sentences. As a BA, you can get so much from just these 2 sentences. Present plans, future plans, stakeholders that have not even mentioned here. Do you know what you guys just did? Did you just mention something? He just said where your requirements are not clear. Remember the first kind of elicitation we talked about, document analysis. You guys are analyzing the document in front of you. That's what you're doing. They will give you a document. No, you're not talking to anybody. But from what you read, you can already start eliciting requirements. We're going to show you another kind of requirement elicitation now. But you've just done on it. That's what I'm telling you, that anybody can do this thing. And whether you are a software tester, you have to understand this process. A Scrum Master, you have to understand this process. Then the BA, we're the ones that do it ourselves. So this is our bread and butter. But whatever role you are in IT, you have to understand the requirements, because you will work with those requirements. You will have to deliver those requirements. You have to understand, test, develop those. Everybody works with requirements. So it's so important. So we could go deeper, but we don't have time. So we're just going to go straight into the second kind of requirements elicitation. Bolu, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So this is the demo. We're going to do a demo for you. And Bolu is the stakeholder, and I'll act as the BA. So over to you, Bolu.
Hi, good evening, Uzo. Thank you so much for arranging this meeting.
My pleasure.
So, the reason I called for this meeting is because
please, can you be more audible?
Please. Oh.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
All right. The reason I called for this meeting is because I own a physical store where I sell baby clothing. However, I would like to expand my business, and I want to leverage the internet. Now I know that everyone is using the internet, and I want to create a website whereby I can sell my product, the clothing, and expand my reach globally. So
that's absolutely awesome. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for that, for giving me an overview of your business. Can I just ask, how old is your business? Can you just give me an idea of how the business is at the moment? Just a bit of insight.
The business is about 6 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're usually, how do you usually sell your products?
Well, like I said, I have a physical store. I don't own any online store yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I leverage my social media account here and there, but I now see the need for a website so that I can expand my reach and build trust with clients. You know, not everybody is able to trust you on social media. But then when you have a website, people are kind of drawn and see that, oh, you're a serious business.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really good. So you want us to create like an e-commerce website where you can sell your baby clothes on there, right?
Oh, it's e-commerce, they call it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know these things, so I'm hoping that you're going to educate me.
I'm happy to do that. Okay, so quick question. Obviously, if you're selling baby clothes, then your target audience, can I ask the target audience you want us to reach?
Pregnant women, moms, aunties, uncles. Yeah, those are my target audience.
Okay, fantastic. Can I ask where your store is and what location you want to reach out to? Do you want it to be local, or do you want to kind of broaden your reach?
Yeah, that's the reason I'm opting for this website option, because I feel like I've conquered the location. Like, I'm located in UK, so I really want to have a wider reach. So that's the reason I'm opting for this option.
Okay, so you want us, the market is the UK, and do you want to start shipping internationally, or do you want to kind of go into Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland?
I would like to ship internationally.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's fantastic. Okay, so apart from your baby clothes, can I ask the age range of the clothes you want to sell?
0 to 0 to 2 years.
Okay.
Sorry, 0 to 5 years.
0 to 5. Okay. All right. That's fantastic. And obviously this is an e-commerce shop, so you would need to take payment online. So can I ask what sort of payments functionality you'd like on the site? Is that something you've thought through?
I would like people to be able to pay with their credit card, debit card, PayPal.
Okay. Would you like something like Stripe as well? Would that be something you'd be interested in incorporating in your website?
Can you educate me on that, how that works?
It's actually similar to PayPal, but it's more international because you mentioned that you wanted to go international. I'm thinking Stripe would be a good addition. It's very similar to PayPal.
Okay. I wouldn't mind.
Okay, that's brilliant. You've been in business for 6 years, so you have your brand and you have your obviously all your business collateral, your colors, all of that. Would you want us to incorporate it onto the website, or would you like to change it up a bit?
I'm just thinking. Okay. If I change it, does it have any effect on my brand? Or what would you suggest? Will you suggest I keep it or I change it to be more attractive? I mean, this is a website. I don't really know how these things work. So
Of course. Either way works. People use this sort of opportunity to, rebrand and refresh their logo and their color scheme. But if you're happy with what you already have, that's fine. We can just incorporate it onto the website. Whatever you're happy with we can make it work.
Okay, you are the expert. Can you advise me? Will you think a rebrand will be better for my business and my reach?
What we can do is if you can send me the existing collateral you have, I can look at it and we can discuss it at a later meeting if that's okay with you.
Okay, that would be awesome.
Fantastic. So now let's go to the inventory you have. Are you stocking it at home? Do you have people that are going to be able to work with you and meet the needs? Packaging, all the different orders of your inventory and maybe handle returns and all of that. Do you already have that, or is that something you're going to hire to meet?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, because I have warehouses.
Oh,
because
brilliant.
I've been in business for some time.
Okay, that's fantastic. And do you already have, because obviously you're going to be dealing with customers. So from what you've just told me now, do you already have customer communications ready to deal with people who have issues on the site, people who have any questions and inquiries? You already have that set up as well, right?
I don't have that set up, like customer interface with my business.
Yes.
As of now. So in the online space, of course, I will need to incorporate the assistance. I don't know how that will work, but I'm happy with whatever you suggest.
Okay, that's fantastic. This is just an initial meeting, so I have one more question, and then if you don't mind, we can set up a follow-up meeting after this. If you send me some of the your branding information, any information you have about your business, I can look through, and then we can set up a further meeting just to discuss some of the ideas, some of your requirements and some of what you want us to achieve. Because from what you're telling me, you have a really big plan for your business, but at least we're going to start from, a particular place. We're going to start from, delivering a particular website. So once you send me all the things you're talking about, then I can look through and set up another meeting with you. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, fantastic. My last question is, if you can give me some information regarding your budget and the timeline you want us to work with.
Okay, so the timeline, yeah, I'm thinking 6 months, and then my budget is around £500.
Okay.
Sorry, £500,000. Sorry.
Better. Thank you. All right. I was a bit concerned when you talked about 500 because the kind of website we're building will definitely need a lot more, a bigger budget. So okay, that's fine. That's thank you so much for that information. Bolu, it was absolutely lovely talking with you. I know you have to rush off somewhere, and I just wanted us to have this initial meeting to talk through what the project would be like. But like I said, if you can send me, the information, I'll send an email actually just to, put some of these things down and just to confirm, what the instructions you've given me, the requirements you've given me as well. So once I send that to you, then we can set up and schedule a follow-up meeting just to, so I can get some additional information if that works for you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Izo, for setting up the meeting. I look forward to your email, and then we can have a further conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bolu.
Bye.
Awesome. Bye. Take care. Bye. All right, guys. So that was our demo. Quick question. Can anyone tell me what kind of elicitation technique that was?
Interview.
Yeah. That was interview.
That's me clapping. Very, very well done. Okay, now over to you. Your task, very, very quickly, if you should choose to accept it. It's on here. You can read it. I put Tesco there so you'd have an example. But your local grocery store is launching an online ordering and delivery service to address the growing need for convenient shopping. The platform will allow customers to browse inventory, place orders, schedule delivery with an easy-to-use mobile responsive interface. The leadership team expects the service to be user-friendly, secure, and scalable, with its performance evaluated after 3 months. So your task is identify the stakeholders in this scenario, highlight the requirements, and write the user stories in the format I shared with you. As I want, so that. Then your bonus task, which I said at the start of it, is to research and create a glossary, not just for this particular course as a BA, but for everything you're doing from now on. So you have a working glossary. It's a bonus task, so you don't have to do it. But if I guarantee it will help you, especially if you want to be a BA. As BAs, it's one of the things we do once we come onto a project. We just start a glossary because we know that we're going to be hearing a lot of terms and acronyms that we're not used to, and we want everybody to be on the same page. So if I say PBI, you will know that it means backlog, product backlog item, and not Power BI. So that way, everybody is clear on what the acronyms mean. But for this particular exercise, it's for this course that you're in. All the new terms you're hearing, everything you're hearing, you just have it open and you're just typing it down. And if someone gives you an explanation, you can put it down. If they don't, then you can Google it and research, and it will help your vocabulary. It will help you pick up the terms, industry terms you need for all these different courses. So this is your task. I want to stay here for a bit so that, in the video, you can, work on it. So now I like this because it's up to you. If you want to write 2 stakeholders, fine. If you want to identify 10, 15 stakeholders, up to you. Same thing with requirements, same thing with stories. You can make it as broad as you want or as limited as you want. So that is me. Thank you very much. I hope I didn't, overshoot my time. So thank you very much, everybody.
And the last slide be shown up again, I beg.
leave to the first one I'll leave to the admin team to respond. I'll just quickly answer your second one. As a BA, as long as the person is a stakeholder who has an interest. Remember, I said the stakeholder is anyone who has an interest in your project, who has a vested interest one way or the other in your project. So as a BA, you should have access to all your stakeholders one way or the other. Remember, there are many ways to get access. For example, the project I'm working on, I need customer data in order to validate my my requirements.
Yes.
I'm not going to go directly to the customers, although that is a possibility. If you have access to the customers directly and they make them available to you to either observe or shadow or interview or get into a workshop, that's a possibility. But my own access now is data. Customers have sent us feedback. They've sent us complaints. They've sent us, what do they call it? Approval, like, you know, they've rated us. I can have access to all that data, and because I have access to that data, I can glean, I can elicit the data I need in order to validate the requirement I have. So even though I'm not face to face with the customer, because the customer is a stakeholder, that is my way of interacting with them. So once you're coming onto a project and you have told your stakeholders that you need access to a particular stakeholder, it's their job, or well, yours, to make them available to you. It's one way or the other. There are many different ways to have access to a particular stakeholder. So as a BA, remember, you're the bridge. You're the one talking to all the different stakeholders on the project team. So it's critical that you have all the information you need in order to get your requirements. So I'll stop there. I hope I answered your question.
Yes.
Sorry, I have a question,
Just
ma.
a further follow-up question on the question you just answered.
Okay.
Like concerning the stakeholders, in this scenario we have here, we know customers is one of the stakeholders. So are you saying we will just go around or meeting the customers, because the project owner just have a specific target, and we know customer is part of it. So how do we assess the customers? Do we just go randomly to customers?
So one thing I love about being a BA is that requirements are not your requirements, they're the stakeholder requirements. So the person who, or the stakeholders, normally there are different levels of stakeholders. So you have business stakeholders who are telling you that this is what they want. And in order to get that information, you need access to additional stakeholders. So for example, there's nothing stopping you from telling your project manager, in order to get this requirement, I need access to this particular stakeholder. Your project manager can connect you to whoever it is you need, or facilitate that connection, that information you need. Or they can tell you, reach out to this person, and you send an email and say, I'm working on this particular project and I need this particular information. If you're not the right stakeholder, could you direct me to the right person? So remember, as a BA, you're eliciting information. You're going around trying to get information. Sometimes it's very clear. You get onto a project team, all your stakeholders are there. They'll give you the information you need. You document it, very easy. Some other times, like Deji just mentioned, sometimes it's not easy. It's not as straightforward. You have to ask questions. So who do I talk to get this information? Where can I get this information from? Okay, I've spoken to this person. They said that they are not the right stakeholder. Who else? You just keep a BA ask questions. You can't be afraid of asking questions. You can't be afraid of it. You always ask. They expect you to ask questions. So there's no stupid question. There's no question that is wrong. You get into a situation, you evaluate. I need this information. Who do I get it from? And you ask. If the person is easily available, they'll make them available to you. I just mentioned, I need customer information. In some cases, they will get maybe one or two customers and you can talk to them directly. Maybe when they're shopping in Tesco, they'll tell you, okay, go and shop, go and talk to them about the experience. That can be. Some other times, you don't have to do that. Remember, we're working remotely. So they could have the data already. Maybe they send out surveys and they ask those questions in a survey and they give you the surveys. So from the surveys, you can get the information you need. You don't have to talk to the person. That's why I said as a BA, it's so easy, because if it's not one way, it's another way. If it's not one way, it's another way. You're never stuck. You try many different things. You ask different questions. You will get to it at the end of the day. But every project is different. So there isn't one way to do something. But once you know all, it's like a plumber. You have a toolkit. If it's not the plier, it's the hammer. If it's not the hammer, it's the screwdriver. There's always something to use. So don't worry about that at all. You're supported by your team. No one will leave you to just find your way yourself. They know how important you are. So they'll always help you. You can ask, oh, I need this information. Where do I get it from? They will tell you, you get it, do your work. No problem at all. Yeah, so don't be afraid of that. Don't worry about that. Everything will be asked what question you need. They will answer you. Okay?
Okay, sorry, Ma. Sorry, I'm the one that I've been complaining and asking questions since yesterday.
Problem. Go ahead.
Okay, so
hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on, Sylvia. I'm so sorry. So you need to raise your hands up. We've gotten to the full Q&A.